do the work. I think 4 of them are ash trees.
We have some leftover, damn it.
How's that?
There you go.
Okay, Public Works will call to order. We are all here, all 5 of us. We'll start out with item 30, Resolution 2022-0086, resolution to confirm and adopt the report of the city engineer containing the schedule of proposed assessments for improvements of South 77th from West Hicks to West Beecher.
Move to approve.
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Mr. Chair, I just have one follow-up question. As far as the 92nd to 96th in Mitchell, Pete, you said you met with Little League. And what is the estimated date that construction would begin?
Well, the last game is July 13th. I don't, it's going to take 4 months maybe to do this. So there may be a couple week overlap. Heidi and Brian Wolf said that as long as we keep all the equipment and pipes and everything off of 96th Street, that would probably be okay to overlap for a couple weeks. They're not going to do any tournaments in the fall like they've done in the past. So they were okay, if we started the 1st of July, and then their last game is the 13th. As long as we stayed out of 96, which we can do, and don't pile anything in the parking lot, which we can do. So they were okay with all that. Of course, they asked for some things as long as we were there, but
Of course.
talk of that later.
Yeah, and we'd have to keep that accessible anyhow because that's We Energy's access point.
Yes,
so.
it's a park.
Well,
and-
so
yeah.
water.
Exactly,
Right,
water.
right.
So
That's
96 shouldn't
not
be
a problem.
affected, but okay. That was my question. Thank you.
Alderman Stefanski.
It's kind of relates to 77th Street, but I've had some neighbors ask, when are the roads going to be replaced from 84th to 76th on Rogers? Because that is just
Yeah.
terrible.
It's on the 5-year plan. I want to say it's in 3 years, 3 or 4 years. It's on the plan.
Okay.
I mean, we were going to do it 2 years ago, but then we ran out of money, so I had to push it back. But it's coming.
Oh,
Between
okay,
76
sure.
and 84th.
Sure.
It's
Yep.
coming
Okay.
in 2 or 3 or 4 years. I can't remember.
All right, thank you.
Okay, item 33 has been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, the motion carries. Item 31, ordinance 2022-0038, ordinance to create major and minor snow emergencies and establish regulations for each.
So ordinance has been revised of our current snow emergency ordinance, where there would be, currently the director, myself, could call a snow emergency, and usually anytime that there's a minimum of 3 inches or more, it would be applicable for me to call a snow emergency. At that time, we would have alternate side parking, residential streets, as well as no parking on the main thoroughfares, and those are identified within the ordinance there. So what was new last year is when I declared a snow emergency, we had alternate side parking, and that would be from 10 p.m. all the way to 3 p.m. the next day. So today, if I would call a snow emergency effective on this date, today's date, I would go to a calendar, or that resident would, and look at the date. It's the 17th. And then that would have alternate side parking between 10 p.m. tonight all the way to the next day till 3 p.m. on that odd side parking.
And they couldn't
Okay.
park on the even side.
Correct. During that time.
Till 3 p.m. the next day, correct?
So what's changed? It's been proposed that instead of having the Director of Public Works call a snow emergency frequently or infrequent, depending on the weather, knock on wood, this would take out the accumulation amount, and it would make for a snow emergency declared as a minor between December 1st and March 31st. So the patrons, no matter if it snows or it doesn't, or if there's sleet, rain, it's going to be alternate side parking from December 1st through March 31st. And there they would, again, look at the calendar. If it's odd or even date, from 10 p.m. to 3 p.m. the following date would be alternate side parking. So pros and cons to this. As you can imagine, so no matter what the weather is, it's going to be alternate side parking, for that time frame. And that, I guess, as a pro, you would have some advantages where maybe the patrons would get used to it during this period of time, from December 1st to March 31st. It's one of those where it's going to be automatic. It's not going to be, every maybe once or twice a month that I would declare a snow emergency. So it's going to be continual, as specified in the ordinance, as a minor snow emergency. So it'll be continue alternate side parking from 10 p.m. to 3 p.m. So what that's trying to do and trying to address is to have Public Works, their equipment and staff, to be able to address that even side, the non-parking side of the street. And then on the following day, they could address the no parking on the even or odd side there. If we ever get a major snowstorm, then the director can still declare a snow emergency. What would that affect? It wouldn't affect the residential streets. It would affect the main thoroughfares as defined in the ordinance already. And that would be no parking. And that's consistent with what was been proposed previous to this as well.
So we're referring to major storms,
Yeah.
not the side street. Right now, we're talking about snow emergency could be called on the major thoroughfares, right?
Right. So if I would declare a snow emergency, it would be for the main thoroughfares, because those are the ones that would be affected at that time. Otherwise, between December 1st, March 31st, it's just like a snow emergency is declared for the residential portion of the streets. And from that time, it's alternate side parking from 10 p.m. to 3 p.m. So I think Alderwoman Grisham was looking at consistency and
Correct.
felt that it was going to help with the patrons to understand the change.
Correct. And Mr. Chair, if I may, just to kind of circle back to when we had this discussion last year, before we changed that parking ordinance, one of the things we wanted to implement was this consistency. But at the time, it didn't present the opportunity because it would cost a lot of money in signage. But it just so happens to be that the city signage has changed with the new branding, and it gave us the opportunity to kind of circumvent that cost that would have been to the taxpayers by putting it on our gateway signs. So even though this was something that Alderwoman Keene and I wanted to do, there was no way to get around it at that time without, I think it was to the tune of almost $400,000. It would have cost for signs throughout the city. So this just really brings that consistency back to what we wanted our residents to have in the first place. There's no confusion with our with enforcement to decide, okay, well, was this a snow emergency? Was it not? You hear a lot even on social media with people, now what are we doing and what day is it? I think the most simple thing of what side of the street do we park on gets lost in translation. So that was Alderwoman Keene, and my objective is we reached out to Dave and asked him how would this work. Another thing as a business owner, and what we've been seeing in years past, is snow emergencies are called maybe for a day longer than they may need to be, just so we can clean up the city. And that impacts the businesses directly. So if you have a business on National Avenue, no one can park there until that snow emergency is done. This gives the opportunity for our director and DPW to efficiently do the work they need to in the event of that snow emergency, but still keep that consistency that they can have efficiency just on regular snowfalls as well. I think I explained it the best I can.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Hang on. This might be for Rebecca Grill. This is just wrote thinking out loud here, is there a database at the police department for all the people that have overnight parking permits where they could just blast out an email saying, we have,
Yeah, we have.
is there something like that, like a reverse 911, only a reverse parking permit? Hey, it's a snow emergency, so you have no excuses.
We do have for people that have the permits, but not for people that don't. But
Right, exactly, right.
we have them in our new software solution, OpenGov, and we can connect with them either probably if we want to use a reverse 911, or we could email them or text them.
Right, but just the people with parking permits, not, every
Yes.
house in the city.
Correct.
Okay, so maybe Alderman Svancy.
Dave, have you talked with the police department as far as how they'll help with enforcement so that you guys can get the roads cleaned?
Very briefly, and I think it's Chief Mitchell would be the best to answer that question, but it's always through staffing and the amount of squads that he has available and other emergencies that they are responding to. So yes, they will, I'm sure, try their best, but again, you're contingent on what other emergencies are available, the amount of staff and equipment that's available, and the availability of, the lots to be available to handle that demand if needed, so.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, if I may add to that, Alderman Stefanski, when we had that initial meeting, Chief Mitchell did have some concerns with the time, because now the time would go to 10 p.m. for enforcement. Right now, we're kind of in a deficit situation with parking enforcement as it is, because we're down parking control officers, and I think a lot of priority calls have been gone out on that. But I know that based on the data that I have since collected looking into this, West Dallas PD does a pretty efficient job during snow emergencies itself. But I think that would be an internal issue with the West Dallas PD as to how they're going to shuffle, or maybe they'll look at bringing these parking control officers on at an earlier time. Right now, they work from, if I think correctly, 3 in the morning until 10:30, which is the oddest shift that I can think of. But still the same, that would be an internal thing that Mitchell would have to take a look at. But that was the only drawback that he had brought last year to kind of circle back to that.
And we'll say real quick on that. I didn't he propose adding a third? Because I know we were talking about that here, that he was going to add a third parking attendant.
And we would have to ask Chief Mitchell,
I wasn't sure
how
if that
that is
happened yet or not.
budgetary-wise, but also if there's a recruitment
It
for
didn't?
that
Okay.
status, so.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Alderman Mazzali.
Mr. Chair.
the
On here for you is he.
Okay.
You bet. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, quickly.
the fact it is, in Milwaukee, they do have, like I said, in downtown districts, they've posted, like I said, from certain date, beginning the fall up to March 31st, they have restrictions that way, But the fact that is still the amount of people, you cannot disregard that. People are still violating. They don't move their car because they're too lazy to. It's full of snow. He says, well, I'll move when I go to work tomorrow morning. And the same thing we're facing here in West Dallas. I mean, the police have been followed through a lot, really, try to issue citations. But sometimes, cannot be there just the particular hours or so, 2 hours. And that's the problem where he is. We can make many changes, really. We can do any changes, but still it's very difficult, really. When we get a snowstorm and somebody parks on the wrong side of the street, many of them, those people, some of them have no permits. And sometimes, they get cited for. A lot of them, even though they have a permit, they know they're wrong. But I'm taking a chance, That's what will occur in our city, really. It's been happening for 30 years or more, like something like that, So to make some improvements, I think I'm for, there's nothing wrong. But the fact that is, it takes a lot to really supervise during the evening hours every block, you know. I mean, it's not that easy, you know, I mean, for the police department to do that, you know, because there is other concerns out there.
Okay. Alderman Ranky.
Okay, I guess I want clarification, Dave, on basically, do I understand this right? Continuous, the snow emergency for the households will take place from December 1st to March 31st. From what I understand, it's going to be continuous. You're not going to have to call an emergency for residential areas.
Right.
The only thing that'll be affected is sounds like the main streets
You are correct.
where you will call the snow emergency,
Correct.
and then no parking is allowed on the main streets at all.
Correct.
Do I understand
Yeah.
this correctly?
Yes. So if I declare a snow emergency, the only streets that would be affected by that declaration would be the main thoroughfares.
Right. It
As
sounds
outlined
like-
in the ordinance.
Yes, and generally your people do the main streets
They are the first
very
and
beginning.
priority.
Yes, that's the message I get on my iPad, and I commend you for that. It is very helpful that your people let us know, and I thank you for that.
Good.
So we know how to answer our constituents when they call us. But I think this will solve a lot of problems. However, with the parking people that ticket these cars, we only have 2 in the whole city, don't we?
I'd have to
Or is
verify
it
that with
one?
the chief.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I know we have at least 2.
We have 2.
Yes.
Yes, from what I understand, we only have 2, and I don't know how they can ever cover the whole city during a really bad snowstorm. It would be very hectic, I would think, to have them come and have the police come out and ticket every car. But this might get them in the habit, people in the habit of parking where they're supposed to, and it might help the problem that we have right now, where people are abusing it. It's hard to say, but I guess I'm willing to try something like this to see if it would help, because people get very discouraged when people don't obey the rules, you might say.
Correct. And Mr. Chair, if I may just follow up, I guess it's on us, the department, to communicate this. We are working with John Matty and his staff, the communications department. They have been in contact with Kale as well in interpreting this ordinance and trying to prepare a video and saying, step 1, what's the first thing you should do? Look at the calendar, odd, even. 10 p.m. to 3 p.m. That's Side-Eye Park. Steps to make it easier to, I guess, digest. The second thing I just want to indicate is, we have about 40 lane miles of mains, and we have about maybe 140 lane miles of residential streets. There are going to be cars parked that either us or, more importantly, the police department is not going to get to. They have other priorities as well. When we do contact the police department, it's in those areas that are hindering us the most severe areas. So are we going to be able to identify each and every car out there? No. And as people are going to be able to respond to each and every car, it's just, but hopefully, with this, it'll be easier to understand, I think.
Right.
I guess that was the goal.
Exactly, just more consistency and continuity for our residents to understand.
Will signage be permitted in something like this? That you have to put signs, or are you just going to use the media for explaining it to people?
Attorney Decker.
So, what Alderperson Grisham brought up before, this is essentially the way around having to post $400,000 worth of signs. The state statutes allow any city to create snow emergency regulations and just post at the city's borders that the regulations are in effect within the city. It doesn't say, though, how the city is limited and what it defines as a snow emergency. The city gets to define what that is. So it's going to be maybe a little unusual for people to see, but if there's a very light snowstorm sometime in December and they're parking the wrong side, they could get a snow emergency ticket for what is essentially a dusting of snow, because the city has declared between December 1 and March 31, any snow is a snow emergency, basically, from the minor side of things. So alternate streets, December 1 to March 31. So that's the reason that no signage would be necessary to be put up on streets around the city. You've probably seen in other cities around that those signs are up, December 1 to March 31, no parking on this side of the street. And that is because they are taking a different approach. They're not using the snow emergency route, they're using the contrary to sign, which is also something that we do regularly. We install signs all over for parking rules. They chose to install signs, we're using snow emergency, which is different. The second part is, someone brought this up, and I want to make sure it's clear. From December 1 to March 31, the way it's currently worded, you would still have to park on opposite sides of the street, alternating on main thoroughfares as well. Is the intent to exclude main thoroughfares from the alternate side parking during a minor snow emergency? If it is, there's an easy amendment that can be made. But if the intent is to have alternate sides on main thoroughfares as well, no changes are necessary. So I just want to make sure that that's clear.
I believe the current is alternating, so I would suggest we leave it the same.
I just want to make sure, because
Good point.
I didn't know if that was clear.
So in essence, the only thing that would change, we'd still do that odd even. The time would change, obviously, for more efficiency of the plowing operation, and you can call a major and utilize that time for those mains.
Go ahead.
Chair, outside of, from March 31 till December 1, outside of this time, this 4-month time limit, if there's a snowstorm in April or in November, the director still maintains the ability to declare emergency, which would cover both major and minor.
Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
And after this time period's over with, it's just back to our normal, people have to abide by parking on even or odd sides of the street, right?
Yeah, the normal parking.
Yeah.
Only during night parking.
But Mr.
Yeah,
Chair,
night parking,
if I may,
right.
this is part of just having that consistency too. I think a lot of people will just adapt to it and continue to do that even in the summer months. That's my hope, at least, so there's no major confusion.
Okay.
Mr. Chair,
Alderman Weigel.
this is for Kale. That state language, does it use the word emergency?
Yeah.
Okay, because I was thinking if we have a different term for a dusting of snow versus an emergency, because that's what people are saying. You have your West Ellis calls it dusting of snow, a snow emergency. But if there was a different word that we could use.
That was the
If
trade-off.
it's in the language,
That was the trade-off in exchange for not having 400,000 worth of signs posted around
Yeah.
the city and just using the signs. The language that we're allowed to do that under says it has to be a snow emergency. So that's the reason that we're defining a snow emergency
So you
as
have to use emergency.
4 months of time.
Yes, it's either that or it was spend $400,000.
Oh.
And I didn't think our residents would appreciate that.
Okay. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. I think we have enough discussion already. So, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Item 32.
Thank you, Ben.
Our Resolution 2022-0087, final resolution authorizing public improvement by concrete reconstruction
Move
with...
to approve.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion on item 32? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Then we go to item 33, Resolution 2022-0103, resolution authorizing the Director of Public Works to sign an agreement for professional services with Short Elliott Hendrickson Incorporated.
Move to approve.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Dave, do you want to tell us who they are and what they're doing?
So this is the engineering consulting firm that Mike Brofka, our water superintendent, coordinates the agreements that are connected or related to the water towers with the cellular equipment that's being placed there. So we are contracting services that we verify the equipment is within the realm that the water tower is able to maintain and hold, and its stability-wise, but also the pricing, the revenue that's generated. They have good experience, and they can recommend negotiations of potential revenue increases when the contractual agreements are ready to expire, which we're close on one provider at this time. So,
Okay, thank you. Alderman Stefanski.
So does this cost us money to do this, or does this come out of the negotiations that they do?
this comes out of the, it doesn't cost the city. There is how would you say, a $5,000, $10,000 set fee that the contractor has to pay. And then we get paid the money up front for using our services, that engineering consulting firm.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? We are adjourned.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Chair from Public Works. We move on with the License and Health Committee. All the members are present. So we start with item 35, 2022-0132, new Class B tavern license and public entertainment permit for 6139 West Roy Road, LLC, DBA Cherry Bomb, 6139 West Roy Road, West Dallas, Wisconsin, 53219. Agent J. Steinmates. Public entertainment permit to include jukebox, DJ bands, karaoke, patrons dancing, instrumental music, pool table, and amusement machine. That's you, right?
Yes, sir.
So you're there right now, right? You have the.
No, the venue's currently closed.
Okay.
It has been operating, I would say, about 18 months. Maybe about a year. Yeah, I'm in there right now putting a can of paint on the walls. That's what I'm doing, so.
You have another business before?
I have about almost 30 years of experience in the bar business. As far as ownership and holding Class B, that goes back to 2004. In the state of Wisconsin, I've held about 10 Class Bs, all without incident, with one exception. About 5 years ago, one of my bartenders at one of my bars in Milwaukee caught an underage drinking ticket. So we did what we had to do to handle that, and the city was happy with.
So you don't really have many convictions or anything that happens priors of years back?
Not in the bar business. I do have I have a traffic whoopsie, a minor felony from back in 2000 and no, I'm sorry. This goes back to the 90s, 1996.
1996.
1996.
Yeah.
Yes, the two lessons I learned from that is one, be more polite to police officers, and number two, just bite the bullet and don't take the public defender. Hire a good attorney. So.
Any questions or
Sure.
further questions from the
Mr. Chair,
Parliament Road?
did I hear you say bars I own?
Yes.
How many?
Right now I have 3.
Okay.
Yep.
And I would just like to say, also, I'm going to be voting no on this.
Oh.
Yeah. The CDA, at their Tuesday night meeting, is bumping up big time against the quota. Not even our own imposed quota, but the state quota. And almost all of them are spoken for already down at the SONA development area. So that's why I'm voting no.
I would like to say that state law also stipulates that the license has not lapsed long enough in order for that to happen. So this actually is grandfather under that. So the license still sits with the address. This is something I'm aware of with regard to other venues in Milwaukee.
No, you said 12 months, and 12 months is our magic number here.
Mr. Chair, may we
Yes.
bring Attorney Decker in?
Yes.
To-
Right, that's what I was.
Sure. So if there is an existing license at this location, it would have to be still surrendered then upon the approval of this. There's no actual transfer of license that takes place. This is a new license that would eat into whatever the quota is. If there's a current license there, it would have to be surrendered and it would provide them back, but I don't know if there's a current license there.
I'm pretty sure the license lapsed, but I'm also certain that there hasn't been a 12 months between the lapse and my current application. Otherwise, I would never have touched this with a 10-foot pole.
So I'm not sure if he's talking about...
How do we know that tonight?
Well, so either way, it honestly doesn't matter, because the council could either approve or not approve whether there was within 12 months or not. It's a discretionary call from the council standpoint.
Okay.
There's no obligation to issue the license or no property interest currently. This is the moment which property interest is either established or not established. Do you approve it and establish that interest, and then the applicant would move forward with that property right, or do you not establish it and then there's nothing that no property right is created?
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
This is your district, correct? The 6139?
Yes, my district,
Okay.
yes.
The history on this location, it has been a tavern and establishment?
For a long time.
For a
yes,
very long
for
time?
Many years. Many years.
And where is your stand on that area in the community?
I do believe, as far as I know, I mean, I've been around a long time, never really have been any complaints, really, in all fairness, whoever the bar owners were before, and I never really experienced any calls for any problems. Really.
So if you could freshen my memory,
Because really-
it's not a high residential area, it's by the
Yeah,
city
by
yards,
Beloit, by
correct?
city yard. Then it's-
Okay, so we're not like bumped up to a bunch of residences and,
There is a property directly adjacent to a smaller,
Yeah, next
smaller
door,
house.
yeah.
Okay.
And I know there's an alleyway and there's a number of properties behind that. If I may comment
Yeah.
on that, one of my businesses that I have in Milwaukee is off of Brady Street, but it's embedded in residential neighborhood. I could do things to make that venue this popular. No. It's going to stay here, right? I could make more money at it, but I'd rather be a turtle and make money for the next 30 years. Not upsetting my neighbors and being a good neighbor is more important to me than getting that quick flash and walking all the way 3 years later going, yeah, I got paid. No, I'm not into that. I'm a reputable operator. My reputation precedes me. I would say 10% of the bartenders who actually know what they're doing in this county have been trained by someone that I trained. I've been here a long time, and I'm damn good at what I do. I don't know if I can afford to go into a. I'm not a, I don't have access to millions of dollars. I have access to the money that I myself have created through my hard work. So I don't know if I'd be one of your candidates to go into an area like you're talking about. I'm sorry. No,
I'm not asking you to go there. I'm just telling you what we're up against.
I wouldn't have the capability to go there. I'm a small business owner, so.
Jay, I appreciate you expressing yourself, and I would make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Oppose?
No.
I will win you over.
The aye?
Pardon me?
I understand why you had to do it. I do, and I will win you over. I'll make this city better. I promise. I'll do my best.
Well, thank you.
The question is, I understand what all the person wrote says, but I don't really care at this point what we're talking about. The CDA doesn't have nothing really to relate to this committee. So I don't care what their feeling is, what their approach is. It's not the case here.
Okay.
What the CDA says, they're not the council people. We make decisions.
And we did. So we
That's it.
will have the vote later.
That's what I state
Yes,
myself.
Rebecca.
We still, the fire department, the health department, and building inspection
Yes,
haven't
go to the
signed off
inspection, yes.
on that, so we implemented the new process that the committee would review, and then it would get held before the council action if the committee wanted.
Thank you for the reminder on that.
Do you want to do that for
It would
this-
need to be held until
Yes.
I think it'd be great.
until they sign on?
they sign off.
Yes.
Yes.
Which means, if you can explain.
Sure. So what that means is we would require an inspection, occupancy permit, all the standard business things.
Sure.
Being approved at the committee level generally carries a lot of weight with the council, but you won't have your actual license approved tonight. It would be the subsequent council meeting after you've gotten all those inspections taken care of.
Understood.
But it's approved at this level, but it'll be held at the council level until you take care of all the little things that are required before you can occupy with the business.
Gotcha. So in Milwaukee, it goes council, and then the holds remain, and then licensing just will not give you your license until. What you're saying is that the council will not see it until the holds are off from occupancy.
The council will see it, but will not approve it until those holds are off, correct?
Okay, okay, okay.
Okay, I gotta go through all the process. I mean, if you have 3 bars, you're familiar with that, right?
I've been to the dance, yeah.
So, I mean, you gotta go through all the,
Milwaukee does things uniquely.
That's a nice way to
and
say it.
I take your words, you know. I never had any complaints from that locations, you know. So that's why I'm in favor, really.
Excellent, okay, thank you.
So I hope you follow those steps, you know.
Absolutely. All right.
Thank you,
Do you have
Jane.
other businesses?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry. Sorry.
I own 3 bars in the city of Milwaukee. I also do consulting, so I'm constantly being, people ask for mine, because I've been to, like I said, I've been to the dance a couple times, so they ask me
Okay.
how to
Do you have good people working for you?
I have great people working for me.
I mean, you can't be in 4 bars all at once.
No, I tell my investors and my people that want to get in bed with me, I say, listen, I'm a director, I'm not a manager.
Okay.
And there's a distinction between those two. I'm 48, I just turned 49 years old on Tuesday. I've got a 4-year-old at home, and I wake up at 6, and I'm in bed by 10. So I tell the managers what to do. I am not a manager, I'm a director.
Okay.
If that makes I know it sounds like semantic wordplay, but
I guess I'm trying to tell you that we don't want to see you in here again.
Have a good evening. Thank you.
All right, we move on to item 36, 2022-0173. 2021-2023 new operator license, bartender class D operator application for Zachary Venter Linton. Is here?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I got a message, actually, when the council meeting started from Gina's that forwarded me a message from Mr. Vander Linden saying that he's at his day job and would not be able to make it to the committee meeting tonight because he had to work late.
What's the wish of the committee member to hold it?
This is his first non-appearance,
Is
correct?
this the
This
second?
is actually the second time, but he
This is the
asked,
second time that he
Well, if
hasn't.
it's second time, I like to see a denial.
I would think he might be working as a I don't know where he's working, but he probably has a provisional license that,
He had it?
So what was relayed to me is that this is his other job. He's got a day job he's currently working that he's not able to make tonight because the day job ran late. So the bartender is his night job, and that's why he's not able to make it tonight. He still wants the license, but I'm sure he's operating under a provisional right now. But that's only good for 60 days, so I'm not sure how much longer is left on that license.
He contacted us, so.
He did contact us, let us know, and
Yeah. Well, it's up to the,
committee, how you want to handle it?
if you're gonna.
We
wanna
could
hold
deny it based on his record, too. He's
That's
not
right.
going to be Citizen of the Year here
Well,
in
that's
West
what I'm
Dallas.
saying. It's
Yeah.
not really what you call, you know.
I'll vote for denial based on the applicant's record.
Second.
All in favor of the motion by Alderman Rhodes of
Aye.
denial?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The
No.
ayes have it.
I said no.
Listen, that's clear, that's fine.
4-1.
4-1. So we move on to item 37. 2022-0288, 2021-2023 new operator license bartender class D operator application for Ricky Adamy Jr. He's not here. So what's
this is the first non-appearance.
This is first time, right, for him? What's the
Motion
wishes?
to hold them?
We can hold it
Second.
till the next meeting. That'll be fine. All in favor?
Aye.
Hold it. Opposed? The ayes have it. We move on to item 38, 2022-0289, 2021-2022 new adult-oriented establishment operator license application for Penny Benich.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
the next 3 items we added to the agenda. We were just waiting for someone to return from being on vacation at the police department, so we didn't necessarily have their police background yet. So I believe you received an email with those today. So the people that were not invited, so you could probably either choose to approve them, or if you want them to come in, you could have it held, and we could ask them to attend at the next meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Yeah, I have no records,
second
so
it.
really. All in favor of the motion?
Alderperson Christian, was that for one or all three?
All three.
All
Make a
three,
motion
all
to
three.
approve all three. Thank you.
38, 39, and 40.
Correct.
Right.
Yes.
I was told, I was here for 40, I was told to come.
Oh, you here?
Oh.
Oh, okay.
Well,
Then
then,
You want to do 38 and 39
I
then?
don't know.
Yeah, let's do 38 and 39.
Well, we were just about to approve you.
So I heard a motion.
do you want to come visit us?
For 38 and 39 for approval, right?
Yes, that
Yeah.
is the motion. There was a second by Alderwoman
Okay.
Rankin.
So all in favor of the motion 38 and 39?
Aye.
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 Opposed? The aye have it. So 40 is here. Come right in.
wanted to
Mr.
be
Byer
good
wants
to
to
let us
visit
know
the
that he's
council
here. That's what it
or the
was.
committee.
Yeah.
No bars.
Good evening, Mr. Byer.
Okay, new
Which one are
application for
you?
second-hand
Number
Are you
40,
Derek?
second-hand
article
license.
dealer
Oh,
for
you're
Derek
Derek, okay.
Byer, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
DBA Lush Life Collectibles,
Yes, sir.
2075 South 81st Street. So the type of business you're buying and selling it?
Yeah, I've been mainly doing records and antiques and, you know, kind of art, things that are not like a junk shop. I don't clear out homes or,
Okay.
you know, buy estates or, you know, leftovers or things like that. So for this particular business, that what might make it a little different from normal ones of this type is I'm not holding it like regular hours. It's a e-commerce hub. I do very well on, you know, online, and so for me, it's office space. I've grown out of my house. I used to do this full time. I'm a teacher. I'm ending my contract, so just need to expand, and found a nice, clean place with decent rent. You know, so I can scale up. I'd like to get out into more things than just records are kind of my niche, going very well, but
Well, Derek, you are a working guy. That's why I need an motion.
Perfect time for the market. Mr. Chair, I just have one question. Are you going to
Yes,
be
go ahead.
operating regular hours with that being said? Or
no. Basically, I work
you
a
may
lot.
have just said that and I just,
Yeah, no, that's fine. I will be there most days, just by myself, basically sorting through, processing. But part of my idea is I want the flexibility to kind of shoot out and go get something, or you know, I will have appointment only. I have regulars already from past years, so they can come on down, pick through, but not like open hour kind
So
of
this
thing.
is working out of your house?
It has been.
business?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
I've been doing it since 2015,
I
and
see.
kind of as a gig, and it's sort of taken over my teaching income, and it's just time to take a step. And the Main Street Bounce Back Grant was a big motivator as well. So
Okay.
Any further
Fantastic.
questions?
Move to
from the
approve.
members?
Second.
Yeah, so this is your house?
No.
no, this is a
Okay,
commercial.
I can't picture.
Working out of his house,
I'm not
huh?
on the fire department. Where is 2075? It's like Beecher, right?
It's off 81st, right off 81st and Beecher on the corner.
Okay, okay.
So there's like some apartments above
Yes,
it.
okay, thank
and
you.
let's land.
What's that?
It was a joke. I'll keep that to myself.
Pretty funny guy, except to that last guy.
So we're in a motion to approve
And a second.
and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The aye have it. Good
luck.
Good luck.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Take care.
And I'm a husky too. I didn't get to say that.
There you go.
Well, the last one is 41, 2022-0276.
Move to place on file.
Yeah.
Second.
All in favor to place on file?
Aye.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor to adjourn?
Beat 'em.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The aye have it.
Do we have
Man, we're
advisory?
so efficient.
42, item 42.
42.
And 43.
I
Okay.
didn't run that one.
Advisory, we got
Advisory.
person ranking.
Advisory come to
Sure.
order.
Trying to
She's
see.
gonna
It's
take care of that
reflected
big
all
item.
members are present.
Oh.
First on the agenda is number
Yeah, give
42.
the mallet to her. I mean,
Reappointment of Allison Lessinio and Linda Grotke to the West Allis Board of Health.
move for approval.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. And now, we have again, resolution establishing polling places for elections. I have to thank our city attorney and our city administrator for putting together another suggested for
Another
the
map.
committee to consider. So I will ask either one to explain what they came up with?
I think this is the third time that we're before this committee to talk about this. So we've established 9 polling places that we would be able to utilize. We've added the Frank Lloyd Wright and then the Mother of Perpetual Health. And so we worked on trying to break them up in a manner that would be easy for us to staff as well as easy for people to get access to. And we have 2 options for you to consider. I just want to make a note about McCarty Park. That is a challenging place for people to get to because there's just street parking. However, we're committed to providing some type of transportation for people that need it from the street to the polling location, such as like a cart, a golf cart or something like that. So we can.
Gail's going to drive it, right?
Yeah.
Volunteered, but
No, he has to be at Central Count.
Which would be fine unless
Yeah,
it
the weather
snows
ain't always nice.
Right.
is
a
it?
ton of inches,
Yeah.
then
Yes.
that
we'll-
would not work.
Yeah, well then, I mean, one of the other things is just a truck or something that we have. So, so that's why we explored McCarty again, and just having 9 polling places. It will be helpful to alleviate the wait times for people. Last time at the presidential, we had just had 5, and so having 9 will help. The difference of the 2, I don't know if Kale, you want to go into that a little bit?
Sure, and I can add on a little bit more about the difference between 5 and 9 polling places. So the nice thing about it is that McCarty and Mother Perpetual Help are going to only have 2 wards assigned to them. They're both new polling places. So by having 2 wards, it's not going to be too burdensome, hopefully, on the people operating those. Yet just adding those 2 takes 4 wards and puts them on some other place, which is a big relief. So as you can see in this one, City Hall currently has 4 wards assigned to it, still 1 less than last time. The question that is being presented to the committee is whether you want Ward 10 or Ward 13 to go to City Hall. And you can see on the 2 examples, the top one, option 1, has Ward 10 with City Hall, and the Ward 13 then is actually goes to Central. But if you wanted to, you could swap that and send Ward 10 to Central and Ward 13 to City Hall. Unfortunately, 13 is just kind of off in the middle of nowhere, where that's the only place that really isn't a polling location nearby. So it could go either way, and it's up to the committee to decide how you want to do it. If you make the change from option 1 to option 2, you increase the number of people going to Central and decrease the number of people who would be eligible to go to City Hall by about 250 people.
Mr. Chair? Or
Madam.
Madam Chair? I forgot we're on
Mr.
advisory.
Pansky.
I would go for option 1 because we have more parking available at City Hall than we do at Central, and it would alleviate people having to walk so far to go to the polling location at Central. So my favor would be option 1.
Okay. Any other committee members have
Madam Chair,
something to say?
is there a preference, as you're coordinating all of this, that you have a specific recommendation?
Either one is fine. We've talked it over. I think the challenge is, sometimes people are going to have to be closer to a polling location. They're going to have to drive across. So you will be the ones probably getting those complaints more than.
So we can't
Then
put
I
this
will.
back on you, right?
Sure.
What would you prefer,
I'll be
Rebecca?
busy on election day, but
Right.
either one is fine. The thought process between having the most at City Hall is we have a lot of staff that help with our elections, and if they're not busy, they can just go back to their
Okay.
desk and work. So it really makes me no difference.
Madam Chair, just to go ahead and call some of the complaints you might get. Ward 11 is going to be the most interesting one because that is assigned in this version to Mother Perpetual Help, which is on Lincoln and 102nd. But as you can see, Central is actually located in the 11th Ward, but no one from the 11th Ward will be voting at Central.
Which,
So it's just a geographic situation. It's the reason that it just doesn't work out is because Central is needed to take on either 13 or 10. So we just ran into that problem. So that'll be the only spot that I saw on the map that might be some confusion was that spot. So that'll be, I think, something that just be prepared to address that.
Okay, any other comments?
I did, Madam
Alderman
Chair.
Rowe?
McCarty Park, they a lot of times have parked right up at the building. You know, they just kind of drive down that asphalt. And I know, is there something we could put, like, just for handicap access only, or?
We could work with the Parks Department to do something like that, but we're fine with providing that service if
Okay.
that's not available.
Okay.
Also, we have curbside service for those people that can't get out of their vehicles. A lot of people use that in the presidential because they found out if you did that, you didn't have to wait in line.
Is that allowed?
Well, we won't tell anybody.
No, not anyone. There was only 10 people watching, so.
Right.
And now with 9 polling locations and voters spread out a lot more, I don't think you're going to see the lines you saw.
No.
So you will contact someone at the county?
Yeah, we'll work with them.
Because even the baptisms and events that they have on weekends there, it's just packed with cars. So.
Okay. We also don't want someone getting injured when they're
Right,
walking
no,
there.
and I've seen that almost happen as well.
So we'll weigh those risks.
Okay.
Okay,
I make a motion to approve option 1.
Second.
it's been moved and seconded. Any more discussion? All those in favor of number 1?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you both.
Thank you.